Fantastic. Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. And I hope you all had a good networking session and made some good contacts. And sorry about those who were cut off mid-conversation if I not had the chance, but that's what the chat is for, so we can all connect up with afterwards, and continue building our networks. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce to you Neville Matjie, the CEO of Brand South Africa, whose actual job it is to live and breathe the story of South Africa on the world stage every day. What an exciting job that must be. And he's well equipped to be the CEO of Brand South Africa because he brings with him so much experience through his 15 plus years with trade and investment at KwaZulu-Natal government. And did I see that right? You brought in 400 billion rands worth of investment into the wow. So strategic mind, I'm thinking, knows about business development and deal making. So because we know in South Africa our image is one thing, but we also need some money to get our economy going, and that helps us all. And I kind of read in your bio that you're committed to position South Africa on the global stage as a reputable brand, and compete globally and revitalize the image and engage with stakeholders. And can I just say stakeholders, everybody, that's all of us. We are all South Africa stakeholders here. And so Neville, I'm going to stop talking because I think everybody wants to hear from you. And so it's my absolute pleasure to introduce Neville to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation. I hope I can be heard. Perfect.
All good.
No, thank you so much, and thank you for the invitation to speak to South Africans and to speak to those that have an interest in South Africa. And I was requested to do a presentation, which I'm going to be taking you through. No, thank you so much, and I'll take you through some of the opportunities. But I think it's important that we look at what is currently happening in the world stage, and of course, quite a number of things are affecting different countries at this time of our lifetime. Particularly for South Africa, there's been a major focus on the terms of geopolitics. And I want to address the elephant in the room up front because I know it's a question that I always get is in terms of our relations with the United States. And that is an area that we continue to work on and to enhance. And I think you would have all seen our president being in Washington, D.C., but unfortunately, those that are perpetuating the disinformation continue to peddle that disinformation. I've seen a number of posts in the last 2 days of some forums that have been taking place in the US where they continue to peddle that narrative of disinformation. It is unfortunate because I personally would not deem those to be people who are looking at South Africa in the interest of it growing as an economy, but they are really wanting to bring it down. Eventually, their peddling of disinformation is not good for our country. And it really takes a lot of South Africans who know the truth about our country to tell the truth about our country rather than peddling the disinformation and the lies that are perpetuated by these structures. We are not unique in as far as the global focus is concerned from, of course, our Western partner, the US. We would have seen how they've engaged with a number of countries, but for us, the US still remains a very important market for South Africa. And we will continue to enhance our trade relations with the US and continue engaging through our diplomatic channels. So I wanted to just get that off the way. I know today is not about the US, it's about the UK. And of course, with tentacles into the EU. But I thought it's important that I put that out that as South Africa, we are looking at it and we continue to look at it. And we really rely on global South Africans who know the truth about our country, where we come from, and where we don't want to go as a nation. And really from our side, we continue that level of commitment. So coming back to my presentation, of course, we are affected by the weakened global growth that we have seen. South Africa is affected by that, and you'll see in my presentation. Global conflicts that have continued to escalate, which are unfortunate, systemic collapse of global supply chains. Climate change has affected us also as South Africa quite negatively. With recent heavy floods in the eastern seaboard, particularly in the KwaZulu-Natal area and the Eastern Cape, which have really continued to batter those regions in the last few years. You know, the what you would see in 1 in 50 years is you're now really seeing 1 in 3 years. So it requires us to be ready for such drastic changes because it affects our infrastructure and our logistics as well as, of course, our platforms. These are the numbers, and I'm not going to read each one in detail, but in essence, our overview in terms of our trade with the EU. Critical for us is, of course, continued enhancement of our trade within the European Union market. But now, when we're looking at leveraging our UK-South African bilateral ties, it's important that we continue really, as you are aware, South Africa has got the G20 presidency this year, and we're using it to deepen our relations globally, particularly with the UK. The UK is a very, very important market for South Africa because of historical reasons and, of course, trade relations as well. There are critical sectors that drive our relations, of course, critical minerals, and I'll show you another pie chart that shows exactly how the split is composed. But we've also seen, not only at a trade and investment perspective, but even government and institutional training and development, education and human capital development. So you can see that the relations really go even deeper than just trade and investment. So from our side, the UK cooperation covers 3 critical areas: capacity building and low carbon transition, digital inclusion and cybersecurity, as well as science and innovation collaboration. We continue, of course, as you would see with that pie chart, with that chart on the left. In terms of our relations as South Africa, the US is very important for South Africa. France, then UK is number 3 in terms of our trade relations. Very important for us in terms of our economic growth, and specifically looking at our clean tech and energy investments, infrastructure investments, as well as our telecommunications sector. South Africa is the 29th largest trading partner to the UK, with approximately just over 10 billion pounds of our UK-South Africa merchandise trade. Although the trade balance is skewed towards the UK, we are continuously working hard at improving this relations. But most importantly for us is when you're looking at the largest bulk of exports to the UK, mostly are precious metals. We're wanting to change that because as South Africa, we are really trying to drive manufacturing as well as value addition from South Africa. And we would like to really see more value-added products going to the UK. You will see, of course, from the UK, quite a number of products coming through to South Africa: machinery, vehicles, aircrafts, chemicals, foodstuff, etc. From a South Africa perspective, as an economic snapshot, of course, 63 million people, 98% of mobile coverage for the continent, with over 410 billion in US dollars in terms of our GDP. Key provinces that are driving our economy, of course, Gauteng, which is where Johannesburg is, which is our largest economy. 34% of our GDP's contribution comes from Gauteng, followed by KwaZulu-Natal, and then the Western Cape. So those are top 3 contributors to South Africa's economy, and then the rest of the pie split amongst the other provinces. Key priority investments, we're looking really at the green energy and green hydrogen sector, mining and critical minerals, digital services, agro processing, The automotive sector is also an important sector that we are driving quite aggressively. We don't forget the impact and using really South Africa as an impetus into the rest of the continent, utilizing the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. For us, this creates a huge opportunity for companies to look at really a stable economy and a stable base to establish themselves in South Africa and really penetrating the rest of the continent. There's quite a number of projects that South Africa is already driving within the continent to improve logistics and connectivity. When you're exploring, of course, South Africa, the mining sector, financial services, and I'll go into a little bit more detail shortly in terms of this slide. Also, in the interest of time, I don't want to repeat a bit too much, but in terms of our logistics performance index, the Port of Durban in South Africa is number one in terms of within the continent and 19th globally. Of course, the Port of Durban itself being the largest container handling port within Africa. We keep competing between ourselves, Morocco and Egypt in terms of that number one spot. But I checked my numbers earlier and my facts, and they said, no, we've retained that spot for now. But it just depends in terms of the number of containers that are handled within the three ports. What also continues to enhance our position is our special economic zones. We have a number of special economic zones where you have special incentives that are created by government for companies that locate themselves within the special economic zones. These economic zones are spread across the country. We have 5 or actually 6 functional special economic zones, which includes Atlantis, the one in yellow. And then we've got 5 designated, and the most newest one is Namakwa Special Economic Zone, which is in the Northern Cape. And as far as the agro-processing sector, we believe that we're a gateway for UK investors into the African market. A number of products that can be produced from a number of sectors within the country. By companies that are looking specifically at the sector, KwaZulu-Natal, the Eastern Cape, as well as Northern Cape and the Western Cape being your primary sectors that you would be looking at. I will share my presentation post this, so you'd be able to then go into a lot more detail in terms of some of our sectors. So in terms of unlocking potential for sustainable growth, we're looking at 9 critical areas: global business processing services, the energy sector, the development finance, because a number of projects cannot happen without that, infrastructure and property logistics, food and beverage, mining and mineral beneficiation, manufacturing, special economic zones as a catalyst, as well as advanced minerals and chemicals and healthcare. I can see I'm left with only 2 minutes left, so I'm going to try and do it quite exponentially, but just to indicate that these are the number of multinationals that are located within South Africa. South Africa has got the highest number of head offices of international companies located here in our country, the bulk of them in Johannesburg, some in the Western Cape, in Cape Town, and others in Durban, in KwaZulu-Natal. Of course, we've got an investment strategy that actually governs our core focus. And in as far as the green sector is concerned, we're looking at green hydrogen, the next gen digital sector. And of course, industrial cannabis is a sector that is growing within our region that we are driving, medicinal ones, as well as the escalation in as far as our ESG commitments are concerned. I'm going to try and round off shortly. Energy sector from an energy security perspective is very important for us. We've got a long-term view in terms of our energy mix, where we're trying to move away from coal to greener energy sector. So this is part of our transition. We've seen a huge stability in terms of our energy sector is concerned in South Africa, but we're not out of the woods yet. But so more investments are required in as far as the sector is concerned. Green hydrogen, we've got a number of projects that have been driven within our region, specifically cascaded to drive the green hydrogen sector. So they're listed there, and when I share the presentation, you'll be able to see the details around these. Logistics sector is an important sector, particularly looking at connectivity through our Africa Continental Free Trade Area. We've taken cognizance of some of the countries that are landlocked within SADC and seeing how best we can create connectivity within those markets to ensure that goods and services are able to come through South Africa into these markets pain-free. Blue economy is also important for us in terms of connectivity, not only for the continent, but also for the rest of the world. As I've indicated, using South Africa really as a springboard to go into the rest of the world. Why invest in South Africa? Of course, stable economy, sectors growing and flourishing quite exponentially. Mineral wealth is quite solid. Of course, world-class infrastructure. The skills base is here in South Africa with the leading universities in terms of technology and innovation, and you'd be able to get a number of skills here quite easily, and a lot of them linked with international institutions. So thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity, and I'm sorry I rushed it at the end. I was trying to cover as much as possible. Thank you.